Okay, so today we are going to continue talking about verb tense. Okay, we're going to practice using different verb forms, in sentence examples, and we're going to continue from where we left off last time. So let's just begin. All right, now let's talk about simple past. The simple past tense is this way, but usually it is a single point in the past. Here, or here, or here, or here, or here. Right? Not always, but often it is a single point in the past. And every verb has a simple past form. A simple past form. And you just have to learn those. Some of them are called regular simple past. And if it's regular, it ends with ed. And some of them are called irregular. And irregular means it ends with, I don't know, a lot of different things, many different endings. And you just have to learn them. You have to study them. And we can't go over all of them in this class, but I can give you a couple of simple examples. Okay, so go, the one we've been talking about, in the simple past is went. It's the simple past form. And is this regular or irregular? Well, it does not have ed, so it is irregular. Irregular, okay? How about buy? The past form of buy is bought. Bought. Okay? How about walk? Past form of walk is walked. So this one is regular. This is a regular verb because it ends with ed. It's regular. It's normal. Okay? Normal past form. Regular past form. Okay? How about this one? How about this one? Okay, anyway, you get the idea. You get the idea. It's the past, simple past here. And here's the simple present. All right, so let's talk about this. Usually when you use this, you include time. You say when it happened. Usually, not always. Usually when you use the simple past tense, you include when it happened. Did it happen an hour ago? Did it happen yesterday? So for example, I went to school today. Now that means the day is over. Maybe it's nighttime and you finished. Right? It's done today. So you went to school today. We could say I went to school yesterday. That's okay. Okay, I ate breakfast with my sister. Now I could stop here. And this would be a situation where I don't need to include time or say time. Why not? Because if I say it, it means today. Because if it was yesterday, I must say yesterday. So sometimes when it happened is implied. And implied means you can guess that. You can guess that without saying it, right? If I say I ate breakfast with my sister, it's today. Because if it wasn't today, I would say yesterday or something. Right? It's implied that it's today. Unless it is not, then I would say when. But usually, if it's like a long time ago, last week, 2 weeks ago, last year, then you should say. You should say the time. You should include the time. So usually you do, but sometimes you don't have to. Now, sometimes, instead of saying or including when something happened, when we're using the simple past tense, instead of saying when it happened, we say the duration. Now, duration means how long it happened. How long it happened. So let's look at a couple of examples of that. I slept. Now, slept is the irregular past of sleep. I slept for 16 hours. So here we could just stop because we know when that is, and we really want to focus on the duration or how long. We could add, if you want, last night, but you don't have to. I slept for 16 hours. We can assume. Assume means to guess. We can assume that it was last night because you're saying it, right? If you meant another time, you would say another time. And that would be weird if you did. Okay, now let's look at a regular verb, live, and the past, lived. Past is lived. Okay, so this is a regular verb because the end is ed. Ed verb. Okay, now we're going to talk about duration. To live somewhere means you have a home there. Maybe you have a job there. That doesn't mean that you travel there. Traveling somewhere, maybe you stay in a hotel. Maybe you just stay for a little while, right? So lived means you really stay there. You stay there for a long time, maybe a year, 2 years, maybe forever. Okay? So let's make a sentence with this one. I lived in Shanghai, just for example, for 6 years. I lived in Shanghai for 6 years. Now, what I want to focus on, what's important here is the duration, the time that I did it, right? So in this situation, I'm using the simple past to focus on how long I did something in the past. Now, by saying lived, that means I do not live there now. If you say lived, it means it is over. It is finished. Right? If you say lived. If you also live there now, then you would use a different kind of verb tense, which is called present perfect. But we won't talk about that now. That's another class. Okay, so we use simple past, means something is finished. And we want to focus on the duration or how long it happened. I slept for 16 hours. I lived in Shanghai for 6 years. If I slept for 16 hours, that means it's finished. I'm not sleeping now. If I lived in Shanghai for 6 years, that means it's finished. Maybe I live in another city now. Okay? And so sometimes we don't include when. Now, if we wanted to include when, it would be a little bit weird, but we can. We could say, I lived in Shanghai for 6 years, beginning in 2004. Just for example, I lived in Shanghai for 6 years, beginning in 2004. If you wanted to say that, or beginning in 2004, I lived in Shanghai for 6 years. That means it's over now. Okay? So, usually in the past tense, you say when, but sometimes not. Okay? So, I know that is pretty basic, pretty easy, but I feel like it's easy to make mistakes, and when you're speaking very quickly, or you're saying a lot, sometimes you may forget. Or not really forget, but just be in the bad habit. In the bad habit of not being correct. But when you're in a bad habit of not being correct, of making small mistakes, actually those small mistakes are the things that make you sound not fluent. So it's actually these things, these small habits, that you need to be really perfect about. Because if you can be perfect, and if you can make this really easy for yourself, if you can do it automatically, if you can do this automatically, then you're going to sound much more natural. Then you can start using difficult words, complicated sentence types, right? But you need to first become a 100% master of all verb tenses, especially the ones we talked about in this video. I'm going, or the present simple tense, simple present tense, or the past tense, the simple past tense. Okay? You need to be so good at this that you don't even think about it. And when you're a master of that, then you can go on and worry about other things. Okay? So grammar is a really basic and important part of English, and you can't just use it how you like. You need to be correct. So, if you have any questions about anything related to grammar or anything else, you can just talk to me on WeChat, and I will be very happy to answer any questions. Okay? So, I will see you in the next video.